and welcome to our third edition, I believe, of these live design feedback streams. Thank you so much for joining, and for everyone who submitted designs, thank you for submitting designs as well. This is going to be a super fun session, so we hope you enjoy it. Just to reintroduce ourselves, my name is Elsa, and I'm a visual designer based in Tanzania. I work freelance at the moment, doing web design, app design, and also a bit of web development.
Great. Hi, everybody. My name is Lora. I'm a marketer and digital designer based in Copenhagen, and also Adobe XD ambassador and mentor here in the Discord. And thank you, everybody, for joining us and for submitting your projects.
Hi, everyone. My name is Akin, and I'm a UI designer from Turkey. I'm also a mentor on Discord, and I'm an Adobe community professional. I also want to thank you for submitting your projects. Hopefully we're gonna have a beneficial and fun stream. So let's start.
Yeah, awesome. So I've already got the first design open. We're gonna start off with a design from Saurav, who submitted last month. I don't know if you're in the stream, feel free to say hi, and this goes for anyone. And you can ask questions or input any comments while we're providing feedback. But Saurav submitted his design last month, so we're gonna start off with his. And this seems to be a website redesign, Fresh Prince website redesign. I'm just gonna scroll through it top to bottom first so everyone can get a nice look of the design. So it seems to be an entire case study. Oh wow. Okay. Okay, awesome. I think my initial impressions, this is a really detailed case study. So my initial impressions of this website is, or rather the entire project is, one, I like that it's an in-depth case study. So they provided, wireframes, a style guide, a site map, their design process, and like what steps they took to get to their final prototype. And I also really like the imagery that they've used. Like, it gives me beach vibes, it gives me like fun, casual vibes, and I think that's maybe also what they're going for since it's an apparel shop startup. So I'm a very big fan of the process that they went through and also the visuals that they've used in their design.
Yeah, I agree. Visually, it looks really great. It gives you like really fresh vibes. I really like the color palette that they've chosen. The overall presentation is very good. And typography is really great. Yeah, something I wish they'd shown a little bit is maybe part of the ideation process, because I see that they've been following the design thinking process, and they've shown most of the steps, but maybe it would be good to see how the ideation process works. Maybe just showing one or two highlights of the research, if they done competitor analysis or something like that. But visually it looks really great, and the presentation is awesome, really good looking.
My comments, you were done, right, Laura? Yeah, my comments are, like almost always, are going to be on the more on visual and UI side. I checked briefly yesterday most of the submitted projects, and this one was also one of the best ones, as I see it, with its cleanity and on-point design and typography, like you guys pointed out. And since we are all fan of clean and on-point UIs, clearly it's a very well working and process is very well laid out and presented overall. I also like the color-coded categories and everything. UV UI, and feel like everything looks like the way they should. It's one of those designs, the products chosen, and as I said, color-coded categories. Yeah, everything works. I I might not be able to find any points to be improved, but yeah, I wouldn't change anything in this design, I guess. Very well done.
Yeah, I think they also have a interactive prototype, so I'm gonna play the video real quick. Should I give it a bit of sound?
I think there's a little buffer, so maybe we can turn off our cameras and see if it's gonna go better with the video.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I like how the logos come in and how they scroll to the left. They also have a lot of really cool and unique hover animations. It's like this bubbly movement, which I think works really well with the design. This is a pretty cool prototype, or video prototype.
Yeah, the animations look really great, really nice transitions. And by the way, if for any of you the connection is not good and you don't see the animations well, I posted the links to the project in the feedback chat. So feel free to also open the project in your own tab to see the animations better. But yeah, really great hover effects, really nice. Everything looks really professional. It's really well executed. Really good job.
I would only maybe think the logo at the very top could be standing out a little more, because with the text as the phone number at the header section and the sign-in button, the logo looks like it could use some more prominence. But yeah, other than that, everything works, as I said.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you so much, Saurav. If you watch the replay or if you're here, great design. So we'll go on to our second design, and this is submitted by Amulya. The title of the project is Book Ride Scrolling Effects Booking a Ride. So I guess a ride share type of app concept. So I'm gonna, as usual, scroll through the design first, and then we'll provide some feedback. Okay. I think I'll play the videos at the end. We can start off with the initial design. Okay, so they gave us a brief intro as to what this project is for. So it's for a course by IDEO, and it's, I guess, an ongoing project. So they'll be updating it as they work on it, or maybe it's completed by now. But it's like a rideshare type of app. I really do like the blue. I think it's a nice calming blue that they've used as their primary color. And I think they've gotten the general layout for how a rideshare app works, right? So you have the different screens for selecting a ride, the onboarding screen as well, and looking at what rides are available. My initial feedback is definitely being careful of what font you use for your text. So serif font is harder to read when it's really small. It's better to use for larger titles. So you might consider actually swapping out your font. So the font that you've used for your larger text, making that serif, and then for your paragraph and smaller text, making that sans serif. And also just being careful of your font sizing. On the available rides page, it might be really small, so maybe increasing it to like minimum, like maybe 11, 12 pixels. I'm not sure how large this is. So those are just a couple things to consider for future design work.
Yeah, I can second your suggestion for the typefaces. And overall, the design looks really good, really nice presentation. Mockups are good, layout is good, really nice illustrations. One thing I can suggest to look out for is, as you can see on the top of the mockups, on the top of the screen, there is like a logo on the left-hand side and a burger menu on the right-hand side. And here they're a little cut out because of the mockup. So yeah, just have that in mind. And also currently where the logo and the burger menu are placed, there would be some UI elements from the operating system of the phone. So there would be like a battery and clock and network icon. So maybe just move the logo and the burger menu a little bit down and make sure that they're not cut out. But other than that, really good. I'm excited to see also the video.
Exactly, you guys pretty much covered those. My biggest concern is actually it looks like it was designed very well, but later than after it looks like it designed without minding the notch at the very top. Actually, after placing it on a mock-up, it could have been improved by taking the branding and hamburger menu on the right side to down and giving the header the visual hierarchy scale that it needs. And also one other thing I would edit, as I said, onboarding screens, yeah, they look very good, and clearly serif fonts are not very suitable for to use as body text. That would be another edit. And lastly, I would use, although it's a very nice blue, I would use a darker shade of it to bump up the contrast a little bit. Yeah, solid other than that.
Yeah, so let's check out the video. I'm also excited to see the prototype. Okay.
Yay.
Okay, so you can like drag around the screen to drop your pin. That's cool. And then you have little animations for the cars. Oh, that's nice. Okay, I think this is an interactive prototype. But just, I guess, general comments about the video first. I really liked the dragging animation for placing your pin. I think a lot of rideshare apps or like map apps do that. So that's a cool concept to include. And then I think the vehicle transitions or animations are very interesting. I think that I find them kind of funny. Like they're unique. I haven't seen animations like those before. The only thing I'd be concerned about is whether it would be disorienting to have them like disappear and reappear as you scroll. So those would be my only comments about that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Other than that, I think they've done a great job. Really nice interactions. And something else I wanted to add on the design itself, if you scroll a little bit up for the onboarding menu, for the onboarding screens, on the bottom there is pagination of like the dash and 3 dots. Yeah, maybe yeah, it would be good to use a little opacity here, so maybe have the further steps with less opacity, so the user would know on which step they are currently in.
Yeah, one last thing I would add would be the Vive More button have, although it's a very nice font, the serif font, but I would also suggest in terms of consistency and some more proper look, I would stick with serif fonts on the button text also.
Cool. I'm just gonna open up the prototype as well and see if like how these interactions work. So this is the dragging animation, which works pretty smoothly. So if we place our pin, I actually wonder if you have to place it in a specific area to get to the next screen. We can't place it anywhere. Oh, okay, there we go, book. Okay, yeah, then you have these cool animations. So yeah, cool design. I like the concept. I like the execution. I think it's fun and interesting. So thank you so much for submitting your design, Amulya.
Yeah, that was a great project. Really good job.
Yep, Ideos HTD course is a great free course, by the way. I started it, but didn't finish it, so yeah.
Oh, the course she's doing right now for the app?
Yeah, IDEO's HCD, Acumen Academy and IDEO. Okay, so
Awesome. Okay, next we have Gaurav, who has submitted their entire Dribbble profile. I don't know if we've had a Dribbble profile submitted before. So this is cool. You have a lot of awesome designs. I guess we can start out with giving general feedback on what we see, and then we can click onto individual projects. So I think Dribbble, really the main focus is to showcase UI designs and visual concepts. So it's not really a case study type of platform. Although you do say what your areas of expertise are, which is cool. And then just from a quick scroll of what projects you have, it's clearly really varied. I guess more of an emphasis on mobile app design, but I'm a big fan of the colors. They pop out really well and they stand out. So all the projects look interesting and you want to click on them because the cover images work really well. So that's a nice thing about your portfolio.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with Elsa. I think the overall look of their portfolio is really great. I'm especially impressed by their color choices and combinations. Really, really nice, balanced color palettes. I really like their 3D work, by the way. I can see that they're focusing mainly on app design and 3D, and I think they're doing great on both fields. Really great job.
I agree. I clicked first the finance app, the dark one, at the second row, and all of the UIs are really great except a few ones. The Shazam redesigned concept, which is a dark neumorphic UI. There's some color vibration issue there, but other than that, you can see clearly this is a very talented UI and visual designer.
Yeah, okay. So I think we can look into like a few projects, like 2 or so. Anyone have preferences of what you want me to click on?
Actually, all of them are really solid, but the Shazam redesigned towards the bottom.
This one? Okay. Okay, there we go. So we've opened up Gaurav Shazam redesign concept. So it's an app, redesign of the Shazam app. Like Akin mentioned, it's neumorphism and also in dark mode. Well, I really do like the bright pink. I think it would work really well probably on a darker background. And yeah, also kind of I can also mention this, some of the color contrast would make the text really hard to read. So that's kind of like a starting point of things that you can consider if you were redoing this or doing another project.
Yeah, it's an interesting take on the Shazam redesign. Yeah, I think it looks really nice. Great to see it in dark mode, but I see the typeface that they used for the smaller text. It seems a little bit too small. It's a little hard to read, and I'm not sure the contrast is very good here. So I would double check that and maybe try to improve the color contrast a little bit. Otherwise, the neumorphic style, yeah, it looks good. I think they've done a good job on that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this also looks very suitable for the industry it's targeting. But as we always say, the perfect vision, having 20/20 vision or perfect eyesight or health is not guaranteed for any type of audience. So I was certainly, especially in text, we're not talking about some graphic background or visual elements that serves as for decoration purposes. A text needs to be accessible at all times, and artist name and Basically anything that needs to be read should have decent amount of contrast. Other than that, as Elsa pointed out, if this was had a darker background, it would look much better because that bright fuchsia pink or something doesn't. I don't know. It looks like it's not the best color choice, but tweak it a little bit, maybe drop the saturation a little bit, and use a lighter tint of it for the text. Yeah, since I couldn't find many points to criticize in other designs, I've chosen this in purpose, so we can say a few things. But you can see the improvement of the designer in the other designs. You can see development by time clearly. This is still a solid design, but yeah, these are the points could be improved.
Yeah, definitely. I like what you said, that you can see the improvement. That, I guess, is the good thing about profiles or portfolios like these. Like when you scroll bottom to top, you can tell, oh, this person has exceeded like their skill levels in terms of how much they've improved over time. So yeah, thank you so much, Gaurav, for submitting your Dribbble portfolio. It's really nice to look at. Okay, next we have Josh Sacrey. This is a portfolio website. So I'm going to scroll through it. Hi, I'm Josh. Okay. Before I think I even click on any of the projects, any quick comments about the initial landing page? I like that it's very to the point. So obviously you say hi and what your name is. And I guess this is I think, are they called Bitmojis? I can't remember what these things are called. A little cartoon of yourself, and like what your key value is. So communicating value through research findings. I help startups grow faster before some of your projects. So I think the layout is very to the point and straightforward, which is effective if you know somebody's looking through it and they don't have a lot of time to scroll endlessly. This is very concise.
Yeah, I agree with Elsa. I really like the minimalistic and clean design of their homepage. It's really great that they present what they can help you with in the first page. The only thing I could suggest to improve it a little bit is to use a little bit hierarchy here in the typefaces. So they have hi, I'm Josh, and then they have two hashtags, and then they have one more sentence. I would maybe use a lighter weight for the hashtags just to introduce a little bit of hierarchy here, because everything now seems to be on the same level. And yeah, just if you use hierarchy, you can drive the user's attention to the most important parts of your presentation here. Otherwise, the cover images and the layout here of their projects look really good, really nice. It makes me want to click on them.
Exactly. It looks like well studied in terms of creating user engagement, and I agree with Laura's comments, especially Laura's. Everything seems a little floating, or you didn't mean exactly that, but the hierarchy, etc. I would actually, one other fix in order to improve that would be, I think, using a subtle background for the header section for separating it a little bit from the content section. That would be a nice touch, I think. And I like the, what were those? Squircles? Squircle solid colored pastel background. Color palette, it looks very nice, and the colors, although they're different than each other, but they look like they are creating a harmonious palette. It looks very well studied overall.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And I have one more thing to add. If you also scroll to the top of the page, so I can see that they have placed their name as logo on the top left-hand side, and they use capital letters for each name. And then on the page itself, they still use the sentence case style of the letters, so they have capital letter in the beginning. But then the name Josh is with small letters. So I would keep it consistent, because I know that there are some designers that write everything with small letters on purpose because this is their style. But here I don't think this is the case, because they use capital letters in some places, and then on the second place where they write their name, it's with small letter. So it just makes it a little inconsistent.
Awesome. Okay. I'm gonna click on the motorbike mate project because it seems interesting, and we'll kind of dive into this project next. So connecting with riders in real time. Okay. So I'm gonna scroll through just to get a quick skim of the project and the designs first. Okay. So a pretty thorough case study. They kind of indicate all their different methods and insights, competitor analysis, persona, storyboards. So clearly a lot of effort put into creating a full case study, which is always good. And then these seem to be their their first round of visuals. And these are their final visuals. Okay, awesome. So I'm just going to scroll back to the top and provide a bit of feedback on how they outline their process. So it's obviously great to have an overview. I think this is a good way of mentioning really quickly what this project is, what your role was, and challenges, etc. So that's great. I find the transition from light to dark was I thought it was like a temporary transition, but it's the entire project. But I think it's a cool effect. It makes it interesting, and I think dividing all your research into different sections is also a great idea. Showcases that you really spent a lot of time and effort in understanding the problem, understanding the audience and the opportunities before you even started coming up with solutions. My feedback is the content is great. I would just arrange it in a better way. So you don't want to force someone to scroll forever. Like if they're trying to get to your final designs, or if they're trying to get through the whole project, you want to make them scroll less, essentially. So I would kind of create multiple columns for some of these sections. They don't necessarily have to be on their own. For example, online survey, could we move survey findings to the right of it so you're using up that empty space? So those are just a couple things to consider. How can you rearrange the sections so you're not forcing the user to scroll for super long to get through the entire project?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with Elsa. I think the overall project is great. I can see that they've done a lot of work, and I really like that they're showcasing the different steps of their process, not just the result of their work. It's really great that they start with overview, where they mention the most important points, and the problem statement, great work. And yeah, it would be nice to have consistency in the presentation, because I can see that some sections are using only one column and others are using two. And then in the in-person interview, I would include some visual here to balance the text. And then the next part, where is the current solution? I don't know. Can you scroll, Elsa, to the section that's under the interview? At least on my screen, I'm viewing it on an iPad. Yeah, here it's the same. So I don't know why you have these the first two elements in columns next to each other, and then the third one is on the bottom. I would put it on the third column and choose that space. So yeah, basically work a little bit on the layout of the presentation, but the work you've done for the project looks really great.
I agree, mostly. I would only, I guess, start by, before getting into some a few UI details, some section differentiation like a zebra table look using some darker or lighter shades or tints of the background to separate the sections better would be a more user-friendly approach. But usually the weavers of the portfolio, whether they be fellow designers or what was that? Human resources and designers hiring people. They skim it usually and want to see quickly the process and methodologies and basically how you got to that UI, how you on what results you created this design. I mean, you can see clearly photography in both the design and also the storyboard in the case study. It's great. I mean, methods are solid, and you can see quickly the way it's shaped, the way they shaped the UI. Yeah, getting into UI, I would almost say, I'm scrolling myself on my screen also, by the way. Yeah, final visual. We can stay up there, actually. I like the all screens, but on I would do some spacing fixes, would actually create a much better look. And my favorite screen in the whole design actually is the exciting and engaging looking the first sign up and login screen, splash screen, but in the second screen I would use some more spacing, even if that means using slightly smaller visuals as a photo and a map visual. But it would be a huge plus in overall look, and in the right details, checkboxes look, the form look too cluttered and crowded to me, actually. I would use, keep the clickable or tappable area same, but use slightly smaller checkboxes to create a more breathing UI and look overall. Other than that, yeah, it looks solid, and I like the map screen also. It's certainly looks well thought and usable. Flow also looks solid. Yeah, these are all of my ideas.
Yeah, I agree with all those points. Really great work on the final designs that you ended up with. I like the style. Like Akin said, I really like the splash screen. I think the visual is great, and it's very much to the point. And I think the rest of your screens are also pretty well designed in terms of layout, other than the points Akin already mentioned about spacing on some of the screens. I think overall you've done a good job in presenting the information clearly. So great work on your final designs and also on the entire project as well.
Yeah, final designs look amazing, and I also want to give them kudos for including a takeaways and conclusion section in their project. I think that is very important for hiring managers and the viewers of their portfolio, just to see like what they've learned, what can be improved further, and so on. So it's really great that they have spent time to work on that.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Josh. Oh, someone's mic is it Josh? Someone's mic is on. But I was saying thank you so much for your submission. Yeah, I think they muted. If you have a bit of an echo, yeah, if you can mute your mic so it doesn't, we can't hear the sound, that would help a lot. But otherwise,
Please mute your mic, man.
Otherwise, great job, Josh, on the portfolio and on the project. Thank you so much for submitting your work. And I'll move on to the next. Oh, this is also by Amulya. I think since we've done one by Amulya, I might push this to the end so we have more of an opportunity to see new work as well. Oh, what order is this in? What happened? Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is our next project by Skirmisher, I guess is the username. And this is actually a video submission, so I'm gonna oh, I can't full screen it. Okay, I'm gonna play the video and we can provide comments then.
Yeah, by the way, I've posted link to the video in the feedback chat, so if anyone from the audience cannot see the animations properly on the shared screen, just feel free to click on the link and to watch it in your own tab.
Yeah. So this is a ticket purchase process app for, I believe, a cinema or a movie. Oh, someone's mic is still on. If they could mute it so the voice doesn't interfere.
I think it's only the three of us that are not muted. There was one person whose background noise was on the way, but I muted them. If you still hear something, Akin and I can mute ourselves while you're talking and see if that helps.
Okay, cool. So initial feedback from the design, I really like the color. I mean, the red palette I think works well. It makes the design stand out and pop more. And I think that they did a good job of showing the flow in terms of purchasing a ticket for a film. So like selecting seats, how they want to pay for their tickets, etc. So I think they've done a pretty good job on that. And also the animations and interactions work really well together too. So those are my initial thoughts so far.
I agree with both of you. I would change just the biggest thing bother me is basically the header look, branding. In the inner screens, the Falcon Film logotype, which looks very nice, could stand out more. Basically, it should be at least 100% white without using any other treatment. It should stand out. It would stand out the way it should. And one other thing, in such professional designs, designers ignore some basic aspects of design, like using 100% black on such good dark red background is not the best practice. I would either drop the black's opacity or using a darker shade of the background that it's on. So when he selects the 20 as time, it goes 100% black, and that bothers me, to be honest. It should be either a maroon or some darker shade of the background, or black with dropped opacity or something. Yeah, other than that, solid overall. And flow is also that green doesn't match with the overall styling and palette, I would say. Check icons.
Yeah, these are really good points. I can agree with Elsa's and Akin's feedback until now, and also I've provided written feedback to that person. So I think I'm not gonna repeat everything I've already said to them, but my main points of feedback actually were about color contrast, because I think in terms of layout and animations, they've done excellent job, but the color contrast is not working in many of the screens because they use this like really bright red color for the background, and in some places if you go to the screen where it's choose seats, for example, then there's some text written in lighter red over pink background, and it's really impossible to read. Also, if you can go in the seats screen, which is around 24 seconds of the video. So you can see what I'm talking about.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah,
And also,
so
oh yeah, no, go on if you weren't done yet.
yeah, so here, as you can see on the right side and also on the bottom of this seat chart, it's very hard to see what's written. And yeah, it would be better to work a little bit on the color contrast and make sure that each piece of text is actually readable by the user. And then also maybe think a little bit if red is the color to choose for, like what are the reasons behind these color choices.
Agrees.
It fits the industry, but it might not be the best in terms of creating a eye-friendly UI. And user might want to use this app for some longer time than you anticipated, and its always usability is greater than aesthetics and other concerns.
Yep. My only final point is also if there's a way to make the button stand out or differentiate the input fields from your button, because they look quite similar. So I don't know if there's a way to choose a different color for the buttons or a different design for the input fields. That can also go towards making sure that your different elements are easy to recognize and identify as well.
Also
Yeah,
in the
this-
form, actually, go ahead, please, Lora.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that these are very good points, and I just wanted to give them kudos about the user flow also, because screen after screen the user flow is very intuitive and very smooth. So they've done a really great job on that.
On the form, actually, this, I don't know if it's because we're not within the UI in 100% resolution and size, but it looks like the regular or thin font weight looks too thin to be used as labels of the form field, and I would certainly use more spacing between the label and input field pairs. I don't know what the exact term is, and yeah, the form could use some improvement also. A very good point about the differentiating the designs of the input fields and the CTA.
But yeah, otherwise, awesome work. Thank you so much for submitting your video design. Great work. And next up, we have Lauren. She has, I believe, actually, oh yeah, this is a case study, so a project on her website. So FoxFace systems, responsive website, and dedicated mobile app design for social good. Okay, I'm going to, I'll read the project description and I'll scroll through the project as usual. So compliance, documentation, app, and responsive website for property managers to improve move-in times for residents. So this is a really cool concept already. I don't think I've seen a concept like this in a project. So we have the problem goal, pain points, personas. I really like the animations. I'm just gonna say that already. As we scroll, I think it makes the transition smoother. Okay, storyboard, mind map. And then the eventual, I believe these are the eventual designs for the app. So quick thoughts, just based on the initial skim. I really am a fan of how this project is presented. I love the experience in scrolling through it. I really like the scroll animations. Similar with, I think, Josh's site. I think you did a good job presenting the project and what it's about. what your role was, and then having the cover image before diving into a bit more specific details on what the problem was and what you were trying to achieve. I'm also a big fan of how you use consistent colors, not just in your designs, but in the entire project layout. So I think that works super well too. And obviously, your actual project, your research explanations and insights have been presented really well. Like, it's easy to read and easy to skim through. So I'm already a big fan of this so far.
Yeah, I can second Elsa's feedback. I really love how this project is presented and the work, the whole work they've done on this project. You can see that they've put a lot of effort in this project, and the way they've presented it, it's amazing. These animations, I don't know what platform they've used to build that. It's really good. It really keeps the user's attention on the project. And yeah, the colors are really beautiful. Really good balance between all the color values. The only thing that got my attention in the beginning of the project, where they showed the overview, like the product, their role, and project duration and responsibilities, just seems that it's not properly aligned. I don't know if it's only on my end, but it seems like product and my role is center aligned, and then project duration and responsibilities. I'll just work a little bit on that. But I understand that sometimes when you code your own website or use CMS, sometimes these things happen. So maybe it's not even intentional. But this is a very tiny thing that I noticed. And otherwise, I really like going a bit down, problem, goal, and user research summary, and so on. I really like that they've used icons next to the title of the section. It really brings good balance, because if they didn't put these icons there, it might seem like a lot of text, but now it looks really good. And in terms of the flow of the presentation, it's very well presented, and I really like that they've shown the highlights of each step they've taken. So really good job.
Awesome. I think we've been seeing Lauren for quite a while on XD Discord, right? With great designs. I especially liked she did a vintage menu Lora commented on, I guess. Vintage design. Yeah, it was an awesome design. And I'm surprised to see she also codes. Multi-talent. Great. I would, in the portfolio side, I would consider increasing the contrast at the header section, since Lawrence Stanton, the name branding title looks solid, but the links could use a little more contrast and accessibility, I would say. But this very project, like you guys pointed out, it flows naturally, and with the animations, with the scroll animations, it keeps you going in a natural pace, and also the colors work together very well, except I'm not a big fan of using white on yellow background. It looks awesome, but doesn't look very accessible. I might use a darker mustardy looking yellow for such use cases. Other than that, all of the visual outputs of the methodologies used and UX processes look solid. And other than that, let's get into the UI of FoxFace systems a little bit. Everything looks in right place, and forms look good also. Again, the can't be sure in please confirm this is the correct info we have on file screen, the third screen. I'm not sure if we have underline in each and every label, are they links, or should learn here if she can jump and on us? It would be great. Yes, she's not going to. Okay. So yeah, I'm not sure if there are underlines used on the labels. Yeah, since we have underline as link indicator in the next screen, the passcode screen, it can be a little bit confusing for the user. Other than that, in the very first screen, sign up and login buttons could be moved down a little bit in terms of better usability, and they look a little bit misaligned right now. Yeah, other than that, solid.
Yeah, I really like the final designs. I agree with Akin's points. And I think you also overall just did a good job in approaching a product that is obviously has a lot of information and content to it, and different systems to it, but you presented them in a way that's clear and everything stands out really well. The colors, similar with how you presented it in your case study, I really like how they appear in the app. Like I think you've done a good job in using them in different ways and maybe not necessarily overusing a certain color. Like there's a good balance when it comes to how you've used the colors, especially for a design in dark mode. I think the contrast between the dark mode and the colors works really well. And yeah, I think overall you've done a good job. You have like I guess this is one website app screen, which is also really good work. I don't know if I can mention this because I had to like step out to close my door for a bit, but maybe just kind of considering the size of some of the iconography. Since this is a website, it would be interesting to see this in larger size. I think some of these icons, or even some of these circles for selection might be a bit too large. So it feels like a lot of content that's been increased in size that's coming at you. So maybe thinking of how to resize some of these different components for your website responsive version as well.
Yeah, this is a really good advice, and I have one last thing I want to add. If you go to the final design mockups, as we can see on the second screen, they have a CTA enter code, which is rectangle with the rounded corners, and then on some other screens like the third screen or some of the screens on the bottom, they have rectangles which are completely rounded, so no corners. So I would suggest also on the last screen, again, there's like rectangle with rounded corners. I would suggest to, when you create the design system for your project, just keep in mind to be consistent with your CTAs. So either go with completely rounded buttons or rectangular with rounded corners. That's the only thing I wanted to add. Otherwise, really great job. Perfect design.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's quite adorable. Okay, yeah, thanks so much, Lauren. Awesome project. Okay.
You guys.
I have one last question for Lauren. Did you code this site from scratch or used some kind of builder like Webflow or?
It's on Webflow. Yeah. If you want to, you guys have time, you can review the rest of my portfolio, but no pressure.
I think I might do it in my own time because I'm really curious about your other projects, just based on how good this one is. Yeah.
I'm just getting started, so any feedback appreciated.
Oh, this is just getting started. She's like miles ahead.
Here too, I still feel like a newbie.
No, you're doing a fantastic job. Like, we've seen your submissions for challenges and in different channels. Like, you're doing a really, really great job. And I'm really impressed by your progress. And feel free to submit more of your project for our next session to be reviewed. because now we are about to end the session, but we have one last project. And Elsa and Akin, if you're not in a hurry, I would appreciate if we can review it. And then, yeah, maybe it will just take us 5 more minutes so we can, finish the session.
Yeah, sure. So this is, oh, actually, yeah, I don't know the name because it's an XD view, but this is our last project. We'll kind of go through it. I think it's like a full website design. There are 12 screens to it. And my initial impression is that it is a news type of platform where you can get, or maybe a blog, where you can get content on different topics and categories. So initial impressions just from the first screen, I think the layout is pretty consistent. They've kind of kept in mind alignment and making sure elements that are in rows are consistently aligned and in columns as well. They've also incorporated typical, I guess, blog layout styles. So, featured sections and also a section on the right that's like to showcase multiple stories. So overall, I think this is like a pretty classic blog design that works well.
Yeah, I think they've done a really, really great job with the layout. It looks very clean and everything, like all the sections are, all the elements in the different sections are grouped well together. You can clearly distinguish the different parts. The only thing I've noticed so far is the see more over each section. I would change the visual style a little bit to make it clearly that this is a link to click on. Like, yeah, maybe have a smaller size of the font here and put underline under the letters, so the user would clearly see that this is a link to click. Because currently, yeah, also it's like capital letters and it's larger than the business or whatever tag you have here in the category. So I would just work a little bit on that typography style and hierarchy here.
I agree. In terms of design, usually the submitted designs are clearly above a certain level, and I usually like them all. This is also a clean layout, but I would suggest, since it's a design project, a little more themed or designed look wouldn't hurt. I mean, this looks a little bland to me. The website name on the very left, instead of that, you can come up with some imaginary branding, or people use code names for their projects, etc. A little more themed look in general, a little more branded look would add much more in this project. It looks a little bland and unfinished to me, or as a good starting point or something like that to me, as it is.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I think there are actually sites that you can use that will give you copy, or obviously we know images, you can get free images from lots of different sites, but there are plugins and websites where you can get random generated copy. So if you're like looking for article names, you can get like a ton from places like those, and it just adds a bit more to the design when it's not like placeholder text everywhere and placeholder images, but it feels like a real blog or like a real news site.
Yeah, definitely, these are very good points. If they substitute the placeholders with what would look like real text and variety of images, it would bring this design to another level. But as a initial work, they've done a really good job. Definitely.
Yeah.
Starting point.
Yeah, I was just scrolling through the other page. I think a lot of them are similar. So, for example, science category, and you just have different columns for science, for arts, lifestyle. We have like a newsletter page here. I think for the newsletter, maybe a way to like spice it up a bit more if you want to use illustrations. What other illustrations can you add? Maybe can they be animated illustrations, just so it doesn't feel very empty. And also, oh, this has a hover effect. It's very interesting. So yeah, I would think of like what other elements you could include on this page to make it a bit more exciting as well and not look so empty.
Yeah, definitely. And here I just want to add something small in the newsletter page. Just make sure to have all elements properly aligned. So here on the right side, you're working with center align, as I can see, like newsletter title and the rest of the elements seem to be intended to be centrally aligned, but the bottom CTA subscribe is not centered aligned with the email address field. So yeah, just make sure to have all these elements properly aligned.
I'd suggest this designer to do XT daily challenges. He or she would be improved significantly.
Okay, yeah. But otherwise, I think this is a good starting point. It actually looks like a nifty template to work with. So yeah, I think it's always good to be familiar with how to like arrange things or have a good layout. So it's a good starting point, and hopefully we can see an updated version as well.
Yeah, that would be great. Like if you decide to work on this design and apply the feedback that we gave you, feel free to work on that in the next few weeks, and next month, by the end of the month, we'll do another live session and you will be able to submit your designs again. So yeah, just feel free to work on that and submit it. We will be happy to see the progress.
Yeah, but otherwise, Amulya, we can definitely do this second design of yours next month because we've done one for you today. I am going to stop sharing my screen because we have come to the end of our live feedback session, so third edition session. And thank you so much to everyone for joining and for those who submitted as well. Awesome designs this round. We had lots of fun.
Yeah, this was a really great session. Thank you to everybody who submitted their designs. And now when the event ends, you will receive an email from Luma where they will ask you for feedback. So if you have time, feel free to just provide feedback for us. What can be improved, what you like in these sessions, what you like to see in future sessions. Yeah, just feel free to share your thoughts. And yeah, thank you everybody for your time, and looking forward to next month's submissions.
And thank you so much for joining. As Lora and Elsa said, feel free to tell us, as we did on your designs, what you like, what you didn't like, and see you in the next one, hopefully. Take care.